Dr. Rima, thank you so much for inviting me to your house here in Chile. You've been very nice to us. Now, we're in Chile. Why are we in Chile right now?
We're in Chile because of Fukushima. Before Fukushima, I was living with the president of the foundation, General Stubblebine, who is my husband, in Panama. As part of the activity of the Natural Solutions Foundation, we had created an eco-demonstration project. We were working with farmers. We were teaching people how to grow without chemicals once again because they have forgotten. We were treating people using drug-free methods that are the future of medicine. They're also, in some part, the past of medicine. And we were continuing the work of the foundation in the United States, in Panama, and elsewhere to derail the globalist agenda. The globalist agenda is very clear. It is depopulation, enslavement, and endless suppression and exploitation not only of the human resources but of the planet. When Fukushima occurred, since I'm an environmental physician as well as a psychiatrist, I said that is an uncontrollable situation. There will never be a way to stop what's happening at Fukushima from getting worse and worse and worse and contaminating at least the entire northern hemisphere. And therefore, the people who are not yet ready to migrate from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, which is a very smart move, but it takes people a while to figure out that it's time to leave, those people need safe, clean food. And so the only place to get it is in the Deep South, in the southern hemisphere. And we looked at every country in the Deep South, and we said, we have to have a stable country, we have to have a functional country, we have to have an agriculturally diverse and rich country, and we have to have a country with an infrastructure that can export commercial quantities of food that is low radiation and certified organic. So Chile was the obvious contender, and we came to Chile. As it happens, we love it here. But we didn't come here for pleasure, and we are still extremely active in the United States. We've also brought our activism to Chile. For example, one of the genocidal technologies, and we have identified 5 of them, drugs and vaccines, food that does not support life and is poisoned with chemicals and anti-nutrients, genetically modified anything, radiation, and chemtrails. These, we believe, are the 5 major genocidal technologies with which the population is being sickened and eliminated. We learned that Chile was about to accede to a level of international destruction of its agriculture through GMOs and through the whole UPOV 91 system. And we said, oh no, I don't think so. So we got active. Here in Chile, in Spanish and in English, but in Chile, primarily Spanish. And within a very short time after I had testified before the Agricultural Committee of the Chilean Senate and presented them with an argument about why they must not accede to UPOV 91, we had 2.5 million emails.
Wow.
And they stopped.
Wow.
They said, okay, we'll put that off until after the elections. When they finish that and they come back to the congressional session, oh, you can be sure we'll be ready for them. And we forced a change in Chilean politics that's quite interesting. Never before has an issue required the senators to declare their vote, their position, before a vote. That happened because of the huge public uproar. We didn't do that alone, but we brought the organizational tools that we use in the United States and elsewhere, and it had a spectacular impact in terms of stopping the Monsanto law, as it's known here, and awakening a consciousness in the Chilean people who dearly love their clean Chilean food and want more of it. So that's why we're in Chile, to provide food for North America, to continue the derailing of the globalist agenda here in the United States and elsewhere. The industries are in fact one system, starting with the health industry, which is really the sickness industry, because there's no money in health. If you're not taking drugs, if you're not sick and falling apart genetically and otherwise, you're a lousy customer. Mm-hmm. So there's the illness generation industry. That's the pharmaceutical and medical industry. That is linked to the agrochemical industry. It's the same corporations and the same interlocking directorates. Those agrochemical corporations are the biotech corporations, which are also the pharmaceutical corporations, and we've come full circle on the Uber cartel. They are all globalists. They all subscribe to the notion that they are the neo-aristocrats. As a patient of mine who was a head of state told me, we have come to the end of the mercantile era, and we are now moving into the neo-feudal era, with the neo-aristocrats at the top, with our servants and servitors around us, below us, and with our technicians below them.
Yeah. I really wanted to talk about solutions. What do you think is standing in the way of the solutions that are right in front of us? What's one thing we could get rid of that could just change the world right now?
Fluoride. I assume that everybody watching this video knows that fluoride is designed to dumb you and numb you and make you a slave, a mental slave. And, of course, we understand that the best slave is one who believes he is free. In 2009, Kathleen Sebelius announced to Congress on September 15th that there was a program already funded and already in place for the mandatory vaccination of every single man, woman, and child in the United States with the unbelievably toxic and dangerous swine flu vaccine. And because there, quote, wasn't enough antigen, there was plenty of antigen, because there wasn't enough antigen, they were going to expand the supply by introducing squalene into the material to be vaccinated. And it just happened to be introduced in this plan at a level that the U.S. government holds a patent on to induce irreversible immune-mediated infertility in the people who would receive the injections of squalene with the swine flu vaccine. And we heard about this on September 15th at the Natural Solutions Foundation, and we said, oh, I don't think so. And we told everybody we could reach. Yeah. And we said, click this button to send an email to Kathleen Sebelius and the President of the United States and your congressmen and your senators and your governors and your state legislators and so on. In 11 days, 3.5 million emails poured out because people took their voice in their hands and they became the source of power instead of the globalists being the source of power. And the United States government, which had totally funded this program already, said, oh, okay, we won't do that. So every time we take our power in our hands, the globalists step back. I cannot urge you and everyone else who is within the sound of my voice too strongly to get vaccine exemptions for themselves and their family. It is the only bulwark that you have against the incredible hoax called vaccination. You can say no to vaccines. So it is not the biggest threat, although it is damaging the human genome. You can find a way to eat food which actually supports life. So these two, while they're enormous, are within our control. When the skies are being chemtrailed and the planet is being geoengineered, and you say no on an individual basis, your voice has no meaning. When radiation is being poured out into the Pacific Ocean, into the air, into your food, into your water, and the United States and Canada have turned off their detection systems so they can say, we don't see a problem, then you have no individual voice to say no. When the biosphere is being degraded and destroyed by geoengineering, by the contagion of horizontal transfer of insanely dangerous GMO technology, you have little choice individually. So here is the greatest threat that I see to human survival, individual and collective: passivity. It isn't the technologies, it is the delusion that we are powerless. Because individually, we are powerless, but collectively, we have all the power. Your website, your movement, WeAreChange, is absolutely correctly named. Not only are we change, we are solution, we are absolutely in charge. That's the dirty little secret that the globalists do not want us to know.
We saw a problem with it. We wanted to feel empowered. We wanted to empower ourselves and say, like, all right, like, they're doing that, but, like, we don't have to do that, and we don't have to be a part of it. So part of doing that was becoming more sustainable and learning how to grow food ourselves.
Part of my job was to sample air, soil, and water. So that's what I did. I air sampled the soil, the air, and the water. And due to my profession, I know at which levels